Pentecost is looming large on the horizon. Time to don your reds, oranges, and yellows, coming to church all aflame, ready to be fired up by the Spirit. But we have to wait just a bit, a week to be exact. So again, I invite you back to that first Easter. Amazed women are dancing with mystery, the mystery of an empty tomb, a missing body, strange angelic creatures, with even stranger words. They are standing at the threshold, about to step into profoundly new ways of walking with Jesus, on the verge of being encountered by the holy in the depths of their beings. Peter, the one who had denied knowing Jesus, is running to see for himself, soon to join the women in amazed wonder at the mystery of the holy beginning to capture his soul. Two disciples leave the group on their way to Emmaus, when unbeknown to them, the living Christ is walking along beside them, right there where they are. Jesus comes to meet them, goes in with them to share a meal, and in an instant, much like communion, at a table much like this, two disciples, in a moment of awakening, recognize the living Christ. So now, in this profound moment, this sacred, holy encounter around the table with these two disciples, what does Jesus do? Stay with them, imparting more spiritual wisdom? Remain present so the relationship with Jesus can deepen and grow? Take their hands, leading them on a sacred journey with the living Christ? No. Jesus leaves, vanishes in an instant, leaving them to decide what to do, how to deal with this encounter with the holy, how to engage this mystery for which no one has adequately prepared them. And this is where we pick up the story from last week. This is where the Jesus movement, the whole Jesus movement, hangs in the balance. This is where we find out if the community Jesus has gathered around him for 3 years is going to hang together or completely fall apart. What we know is this: the women in the community are not believed. Their experience is dismissed. What they know is brushed aside. Peter, the erratic, unpredictable disciple who swings to extremes like a fast-moving pendulum, is running around trying to find out what's going on. Two disciples are sitting at a table with their hearts burning within them when the living Christ just vanishes into thin air. This is the time in the play when we tensely hold our breath, wondering, waiting. This is the moment when the most profound question hangs heavy in the air. Will the Jesus community hold? Or will the community, formed and shaped, transformed and empowered by Jesus throughout his entire ministry, vanish even more quickly than Jesus vanishes from the table right in front of the Emmaus disciples? And this is what I want you to notice in the text this morning. When the women have an experience with the holy, a profound spiritual encounter, they go back to the community, ready to share what they know, even though, being women, they probably know that what they have to say will be suspect, their experience discounted, their voices silenced, their truth crushed. As for Peter, a fallen leader in the community who lied and fled in the face of fear and danger, somewhere along the way, after he runs to see for himself, Peter also has an encounter with the holy, a sacred experience, and Peter also goes back and tells the community what he knows, how the living Christ has appeared to him. The two Emmaus disciples, who for some reason have left the community, sit stunned for a moment, their hearts burning within them from their holy, sacred encounter as the living Christ vanishes like a puff of smoke. Then they jump up. And where do they go? 7 long miles, probably in the night, back to Jerusalem, back to the 11 and the others, back to the Jesus community, eager to tell what has happened to them on the road, how in the breaking of the bread together at table, they have come to know Jesus. What happens next is pretty cool. When the community is gathered together, sharing with one another their varied experiences, their own sacred moments, the array of ways the Holy has encountered each and every one of them, when members of the community come together with their wonderment, with all of their questions, with their willingness to speak up, to give voice to how the Holy is moving in their lives, when the community comes together, Jesus shows up. Jesus shows up, taking them further down the road on their own spiritual journeys, showing them even more about what the living Christ is all about and what difference this can make in their lives, in your life. They find Jesus most profoundly in the gathered community as they share deeply with one another what the Holy is doing in the world. Now, Presbyterians who truly take these stories to heart probably are filled, maybe not with the fear of God, but with fear nonetheless, because these stories tell us, even if your holy encounters happen quietly, apart from the community, you go back to the community and you share what you know with the whole community. Some call this testifying or witnessing. And don't try to tell me that doesn't put the fear or the dread of some kind in the heart of a Presbyterian. As the Jesus community regathers after their personal encounter with the Holy, as they share their experience, share their questions, as they explore wonderment, faith, mystery, together with one another, Jesus shows up, telling them to wait together. Wait together for a holy power that will empower them for what is coming next. But then, in an instant, Jesus disappears again, leaving them alone with one another to wait and to wonder, to be empowered as a community so they can continue the work Jesus has only just begun. While they wait, as Jesus tells them to do, they stay together, gathering in their place of worship, giving voice to the wonder of the Holy in their lives as they worship and pray together. And I think these stories teach us something about being community. Intentional spiritual communities stand together side by side. We speak up about how the Spirit is moving in our lives. We give voice to our honest questions. We become willing to explore with one another, to speak our own truth, to entertain the truth of others among us. We show up at church school classes. We show up at worship, not to be entertained by the pastor or anyone else, but to stand together in the presence of sacred mystery. We come to be part of a community of love. We come with joy and wonder and awe, joining with other people of faith to seek the living Christ. Thanks be to God.